It feels very harsh in asking this question, but is it time to rest or drop Coyle completely? Is he part of the problems at Hull City? Plus, are the players actually good enough to survive, or are massive upheavals needed in January? Welcome to Where Tigers Walk. It's episode 20. We're also exploring this week as our third debate. Does the Championship feel, and football in general, feel a little bit flat? And if so, what's killing it? Is it these early kickoffs, or is it money? We'll talk to Matty and Ben about all of that on 20 minutes of Hull City chat. And as bad as the football has been, they're both back here. They're both back smiling, keeping the positivity. Isn't that right, fellas?
I think it's a grimace, Mark. It's not a smile. We're trying out with Ben. We keep trying. Keep trying.
Putting on a brave face every week.
We are recording this before the Swansea results and after the Coventry City trip to the CBS. Which, Ben, was that as bad as it's been, even under Volta?
Yeah, it was not a pleasant watch at all. I don't know what happened, to be honest. We had such a promising showing on against Watford, and then it just completely flipped. I think a lot of the fans were sort of positive going to Coventry. I thought a lot of people felt like we could get a point or even a win against them, because obviously they're not doing great either at the minute. But yeah, it was very bad, very, very bad.
Yeah, because midweek, Matty Bedia scores an amazing goal after our comments on him last week. He must have heard us. Stunning goal that'll go down in the annals of time. And unluckily for you, Watford got equalised, but that was a good performance, wasn't it? So many people have said, well, this is going to kick on your season now. And what went wrong?
Yeah, look, at the moment, I think we'll take any goal that comes. And I think if it comes off hands, asses, whatever else, we aren't bothered. As long as it goes in, we're not fussed. But yeah, it was a massive kind of disappointment from Wednesday. There was lots of promising signs, particularly like defensively, we looked a lot more solid. Watford didn't really create an awful lot, and we were very positive kind of going forward. And then Saturday was just, I mean, for me, they looked tired. I don't know if it's just they've been worked really hard in training. I know that's one of his kind of things that he looks for is everybody working hard, but they looked tired and they looked so much off it. It was unbelievable. I mean, the passing was awful. I mean, you've gone from Casey Palmer, who was probably our best player week on Saturday and probably midweek as well, to him just giving the ball away constantly, and we just couldn't string any passes together. I mean, second half I think we had a few chances on the break, and Burstow had a couple of chances, but yeah, it was a very poor. We looked so shaky at the back again. We did. It was just that was just like the Walter days back. So yeah, some massive changes are needed, I think.
Okay. I almost resent having to have this conversation with you about Coyle, but we can't avoid it because it came up so often. I quite like Coyle, and I never like putting the boot into players that have been so influential for the club. But Williams says Coyle should have been subbed at half-time, and then he cost us both goals. Subbing Kamara instead of Longman was a clear mistake. Burstow was yet again really good and should start the next game. Just not good enough, hoping for better against Swansea. Cameron says, Coyle cost us 3 points today, looked clueless, trying to defend and at fault for both the goals. Drama has to start the next game. Dear. Go on, I'll ask it. Ben, should Coyle get dropped?
I think the only reason I would is just to sort of give him a bit of a break, because he has, the last couple of games, he has been turned inside out by the wingers, especially Mason Clark against Coventry and who was it? I think it was Ben Doak against Middlesbrough, not so much against Watford, but those two games he just was run ragged. And I think he's almost showing that he might need a bit of a rest, because he's played all the games. He gives 110% every game as well. I think he just sort of needs to be, I don't know if it's rested, but just sort of taken out of the spotlight, because it's unfair to put it all on him, because it's a team that's playing the same. It's not just Coyle. Like, he might have been at fault for both the goals, but you've got to look at where the ball started. It can't have always started exactly where Coyle is. He's putting in the tackle, or missing the challenge to stop it from getting into the box, or stop the goal from going in. It's just, I think it's unfair to pin it all on him, because there's a lot of players that you could say need dropping after that Coventry game. But yeah, I think I would, just to sort of give him a bit of a break to like refresh him going into the next couple.
Thanks for that, Ben. And the reason I feel so bad asking this, Matty, because we've talked on here under the Walter days about Coyle being the most consistent performer under those days, and actually he's the only one you could look to that was actually still looking like he cared for the badge. And here we are, 2 games under going. Yeah, he needs benching. For you, does he?
Yeah, I think so. Like Ben says, I think he just needs taking out for a little bit, and he just needs resting. I think going forwards, I think he's, and I saw somewhere on Twitter about him being the most progressive defender going forward. So he's obviously still got that in terms of going forward, but defensively, he is lacking a little bit in that. And he's not alone, like Ben says, he's not alone. I mean, Giles on the other side, he's great going forward, but again, defensively, he's suspect. But we've just looked suspect in defence totally. So to put the whole of the blame on Coyle is a bit harsh. I still think he needs dropping. I think we've got a perfect replacement in Drama in there. Drama's unlucky not to be in the team anyway, but he's not fitted on that left-hand side. Let's bring Drama in, see how he goes, give Coyle a rest. And then, he's a great option then to bring in. And then if it's not working on the left-hand side, Coyle can quite easily fill in on the left-hand side. It's a bit harsh on the lad. He wears his heart on his sleeve, doesn't he? He gives 100% every game. He's just not on form, is he? I think he's just struggling a little bit, but it's a bit harsh to singling him out, but he definitely does need to come out of the team, I think.
I think it also shows, because he's played like almost, I can't remember the last time he wasn't in the squad, to be honest. He plays a full 90 every game as well, so it might be a case of he is a bit burnt out and he can't perform to his highest level because he's just in need of a rest, really.
There's no question in his loyalty and his commitment. That's there to see it. He's probably the most out of all of them that he will give it. And I think a lot of people are harping about his quality, and maybe he is lacking that little bit of quality. But what he lacks in quality, he'll always make up for in work rate and commitment. So you take that out of the team, are we still going to have that quality that he brings to the team in terms of that? So harsh on the lad, harsh.
Yeah. All right. Here's some more advice from Ruben. Mark says you need to be ruthless in your team selection. First of all, you've got to drop the captain. He's got a heart of gold, gives 100%. It's obviously most City fans, he's out of his depth. We've already done that one. Giles also needs a rest, and so does Camara. Drama, Jacob, and Burstow all start for me in the next game. Ben, do you agree with Jacob's bringing of those 3?
To be honest, you can argue for both. I think it's almost like we may as well give it a shot, because all 3 of those that he's listed to come in, Drama, Jacob, and Burstow, are all young lads, and they've shown, Matty Jacob more so the end of last season, but so far this season, Burstow and Drama have shown willingness to play, and they look like they want to be there. I think it's worth it. We may as well give it a shot. If it doesn't work, I mean, we're in a tough situation as it is. It's not like it can get much worse. But I think, to be honest, it might be worth just giving it a change, because something has to be changed to make it click. And I think it might be personnel. I'm not sure.
Okay. Swansea up next. We'll come on to that in a minute. But our second debate this week is is a little bit more of a more frightening question, Matty. It's whether you've got the quality at this moment to survive. No wins in 11, and people are saying things like, James here saying a performance that once again surely highlights the quality, the progress, and the speed of the recruitment was as failed as the previous experiment on a manager. John says we're absolutely rubbish. At least under Walter, we dominated possession and looked like we might score if we had a decent striker. Now we look terrible. It's like the Sandy McCann era. So, do we have the players currently? Let's assume there's little investment in January. Are these players good enough to stay up?
Well, we only have to look at the position we're in, and on current form, we clearly haven't got the players or the quality to keep up. I think, we are, going to back to your previous point is, it's all right dropping all these players, but who do you actually bring in? We haven't got the squad. We haven't got the squad depth to bring in half these, to swap a left back and bring somebody else in. We haven't got the quality in midfield to swap out. We haven't got the quality in strikers. So I would say on this current team that we've got, we haven't got the quality to stay up. No, I think the only kind of looking at the Championship in general is I don't think it's massive quality, is it, in terms of all of the teams? I mean, you only have to look at Leeds drawing to Preston at the weekend and hanging on, only just getting back into it. The teams aren't great. It just needs us to turn that around. I still think we've got some good players in there, but we just need to turn our luck around and 3 or 4 wins. Or go on a decent run of 5 or 6 games unbeaten with a couple of wins thrown in there, and it looks completely different, doesn't it? So I think that's the still thing, is that we're still there in terms of that. But in terms of the quality, I think we all know that we're the forward line we're lacking at the moment. I think the defensively we're just lacking a bit of experience. I think probably in that back four at centre half. So we're kind of hanging on that way to January to see what we can bring in terms of players, because if we don't, I think we are going down, unfortunately.
Stoke City sitting 17th. They are 6 points ahead of you guys. In between them and you, there's another 6 teams. So there's a reason why Hull can stay up, isn't it, Ben? You are not cut adrift, even as bad as you've been, and you aren't just got 3. It's not just 4 teams in that bottom playing, and only one's going to survive. You say with a couple of wins starting against Swansea, you are very much in the mix, even though you're bottom of the table. Just do you take heart from that?
I think you kind of have to, really, especially when considering if we'd held on against Watford, I think we'd have jumped up to 20th, which would have taken us well outside. The only thing is to know is the teams. I think there's 4 above us that have played either 1 or 2 less than us, so that's a bit of a worrying factor, because they could even bridge the gap a little bit more whenever those games are played. So that's an extra 3 points, 1 point, 2 point gap that we need to close. But you kind of have to take heart from it. It's very easy to win 3 in a row and end up mid-table, because like Matty said, the compared to last season, especially the quality of the teams, the quality of the Championship this season is drastically worse, I'd say. So it is easy to get a couple of wins back to back and climb up, but it's just finding where you're going to get those wins and how we're going to get those wins.
What I would say though is that's why we brought Sellers in. Surely that's the whole point of bringing him in, was that he got something out of Reading on very limited budget and limited in terms he went into the youth team and brought in a lot of youth players. We have got a lot of young players, so surely there is enough quality there. It's just us getting to play into a system that suits us and getting the most out of those players, and then pushing on from there. But that's the whole reason. I don't think under Walter that would have happened, because Walter would have just kept to his same tactics, and we'd have definitely be going under. Whereas I think Sellers, looks like he tries to adapt to the opposition we're playing, not just playing one way. Although it's crap Saturday, but he did against Watford. So that's the whole reason why we brought Sellers in. Surely that's his job now, is to get the most out of the players we've got.
I think as well, you've got to note that he has been in for 10, 11 days. So I suppose it's kind of harsh to judge now, but I mean, we have to because considering where we are, we're bottom of the league, but we have to give him a bit more time. Hopefully with next, it's like a full week till the next game. So fingers crossed.
Yeah. I don't think anyone is criticising Sellers at all. He's not a miracle worker. There was one person that some people have started to criticise. This was from a Fenerbahce fan. Akun has transferred Hull's money to his team in Turkey. You have garbage Fenerbahce players in hand, and Fenerbahce has a wonderful transfer budget. You pay treasure to the players who are asked to leave from your own team. There's lots of conspiracies about this, Matty, but do you believe that for 1 second?
I don't think so. I think from the fans' point of view, I think that it feels to us that is a massive distraction. Well, it certainly does to me. It feels like it's a massive distraction, and that his time isn't fully invested into us. Now, I know he's a multiple club owner or whatever, but I think we're looking for somebody who's dedicated. We are, he has come in, he's brought the fans back, which we keep saying every week. But if you look at his tenure, we've had one successful season, and he's brought in 4 different managers, and he's not quite got it right. So I don't know if the money is or whatever. I don't know about that, but I think we want to see some commitment from him. And I know he's put his hand in his pocket and he's brought the players in, but we haven't brought the right players in, and they've not brought the quality that we said. We've been promised a striker for the last 2 seasons, and we haven't still got one. So we just want him to give us his focus and get us out of this mess, because we certainly aren't going forward with him at the moment. And I'm supportive of him. I don't want him to leave the club, because I think we'll be in a worse place if he goes. But I think we just want to see more commitment from his side of it for the club and the team, because the fans are there and the fans are dying out for it, and we want it. We want the success. We just want somebody that's committed to us. Yeah.
I don't think if you got Liam Miller available to you, I think it'd be a very different season.
And Balumi showed some really good signs as well. I think, you're taking them 2 out. You were putting a lot of emphasis on Kamara. He's only a young lad. Yeah, he had a great season at Portsmouth. He is so lacking so much confidence. You can just tell as soon as he gets it, he passes it back. We're putting a lot of responsibility on these young players. We need experience in now to kind of help us out a bit.
All right. You've got a good manager now, but we'll fully support and get behind. Swansea next, then they're away from home. They're a tough nut to crack. They don't concede too many goals. Or having said that, they've just conceded 3 against Sunderland. How do you see this one going, Ben?
I mean, anytime we're at home, it is an unknown. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'd like to think we could get something from it, but it's hard when, based on the last games, it's even when we go a goal up, we just don't seem to, 1, go for the second, or 2, we can't really hold on to it. I was going to say it's almost like, but it is like the players don't know what winning feels like, because we haven't done it in, I think it's 70 odd days. So, I mean, it's understandable. We just need a boost of confidence. That's all. And I think we'd be able to kick on. Fingers crossed anyway.
Good luck against Swansea. Before we let you go, this week we're talking about just generally just a championship feeling a little bit flat. Obviously watching Volta ball out of it, which we won't comment on again. But for you, Matty, is football in a bit of a lull at the moment? And if so, why is it?
You are asking the wrong team here, Mark. We're obviously going to say, yeah, it is in a lull. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of. I think the quality isn't as great as it has been. Yes, it's competitive, but I don't think the quality is as good as it has been previously. It's these early kickoffs are making a bit of a farce as well, to be honest. I know we've got 12:30 this Saturday, 12:30 next week, 5:30 on New Year's Day, and other things. Yeah, it can. We just want. I think it kind of just takes the atmosphere out of it. I mean, Sunday games as well. It just kind of everybody knew what was going to happen. 3:00 on a Saturday. Go to the pub for a couple of pints before. Get into the atmosphere, and then get into the ritual of doing it, and then people will go and look forward to it. It's you're expecting, it's not miles away Coventry for us on Saturday, but it's still a trek to get up at 5:30, or set up at 5:30, 6:30 in the morning to go to Coventry. It's just no wonder the fans aren't interested. And Coventry, their stadium wasn't even full as well, was it? So it's probably across the board. It's just it's very frustrating. It's great showing all this football on telly, but who's actually watching it? Just get it back to 3:00.
Yeah, absolutely. Here to that, Ben.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think the timing of the kickoff should just be set at 3:00, and it makes it so much easier. You've probably seen from when we've been on TV, the stadium is, even though the attendances are recorded at 18 to 20,000, it doesn't look like it when you look at it on TV. And I mean, it's just, I think that just ruins it for, I mean, exactly like Matty said, the people know what they're doing on a Saturday when they get ready, go down to the pub, go to the game. It's just a completely pointless thing, putting all the games on Sky and just ruining it for the fans a little bit, to be honest.
Okay. All right, I think everyone listening to this will agree with you. Thank you, both of you, for that. Let us know what you think in the comments, of course, below. And thank you, first of all, for all the support you've given us over the 20 weeks. We've grown to be one of the most watched Hull podcasts on the internet in that time. Whether we need to thank Tim Walter a bit for that, I'm not sure, but we'll take it. We really massively appreciate it. Jack will be back next week after his exams are all over, and we massively appreciate all the love. One more to go. We're going to look back at Swansea next week, and then we'll be talking about Boxing Day, and then it's Christmas time. By goodness, Hull needs a Christmas miracle if they're going to get out of this sticky wicket. But we all hope, we all pray, even as a neutral, that they do. Too big of a club to go down to League One. Absolutely. We'll see you next week for it. Thanks again for watching.